So now we're going to talk about becoming the top 1%, and we've already talked about this a little bit in the course, but if you really want to achieve what most people don't achieve, right? If you want to have live in the nicer area of town, if you want to have a nicer house, if you want to have nicer cars, if you want to have the better jobs, if you want your kids to go to the better schools, if you want to have better physical health, if you want to have better intellectual knowledge and mental health and emotional health, if you want to have better relationships, and that's no small accomplishment, by the way, because 50% of marriages end in divorce. 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? If you want better physical health, financial health, social health, intellectual, mental, emotional health, if you want better in all of those areas, right? If you want to rise to the top, if you want to succeed, if you want better vacations, if you want to achieve all of that, to achieve what most people don't achieve, you have to do what most people don't do. So let me just say that again. To achieve what most people don't achieve, you have to do what most people don't do. So when you look around yourself and you look at the norm, like the norm in America for physical health, here's the norm in America for physical health. 72% of people are overweight. And then 42% of Americans are obese. That's the norm. So if I want to be physically healthy, I need to do, just right out of the gate, what everybody around me is not doing. 72% of the people are not doing that. They don't have the right diet and they don't have the right exercise plan, because look at the statistics, right? 72% are overweight, 42% are obese. And so if I want to achieve physical health, I have to do what others are not doing. And that requires a conscious choice. And so to do that is actually to be a bit of a rebel. It's to do what others aren't doing. You're going to rebel. And it's also to step outside the lines of conformity. It's to step outside the lines of conformity, right? Because there's a huge pressure within the human psyche to conform. And there are all kinds of studies about this. One of my favorite studies about it is, what is that line? What is that study in psychology or social psychology where people are shown lines of different lengths, and some respondents in the room are part of the experiment, and they say the non-correct answer, and then the subject being tested agrees with them even though the answer is not correct. They ask about line length. So there's a study that you can look up, and it's the Asch Conformity Experiments, right? And so you could go on YouTube and you could watch a video about the Asch Conformity Experiments. You could also pause the video right here and you could read about that. But what that shows is the immense power of social conformity. And we're social creatures as humans. And so we have this huge impulse and instinct within us just to look around us and to do what everybody else is doing. And to not do what everybody else is doing, right? If you want to achieve what everybody else is not achieving, you have to do what everybody else is not doing. So to not do what everybody else is around you is doing, it takes effort. It takes conscious psychological effort. It takes force in the psyche, your human psyche. It takes a force in the human psyche to step outside those lines of conformity and to say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is why I'm going to do it. And as you become aware of this, as you gain this knowledge, because what will make you successful in life is what you know, who you know, and mindset. And right now you're gaining more information, more what you know. As you gain this knowledge, this what you know about what makes you successful, you're now more empowered to do it. And as I gained this knowledge when I was young, I looked around at people and I was like, okay, most people aren't exercising, but most people don't have good physical health. And then also I started to see some people who they were suffering health problems because they didn't take care of their health. And then I realized, okay, I got to do what most people aren't doing. And I was lucky and I was blessed because this was mentored for me by my father and my mom. And they're now in their my mom is 80 and my dad is 86. And their physical health is great. They have great mental health, intellectual health, their minds are sharp, their bodies they still have physical health, right? But they get up every morning and they exercise. And my dad was here visiting, my parents were here visiting, and my dad was doing squats My mom's doing her exercises in the morning. And I'm like, you guys are great, but that is a small price to pay for the rewards that you get, right? So the cost is, okay, 30 minutes, an hour, I'm exercising a couple times a week, but the rewards are immense. And when you understand that equation, you could start to make those choices. All right, I'm gonna do the thing which is harder in the short term because it helps me achieve what I wanna realize in the long term. And it helps me in all these other areas, right? The synergies between physical, social, intellectual, mental, and emotional, and then also financial, the synergies between all those. It's like, I gotta keep all this in balance. I gotta keep the plane, which is my life, flying well. So if you wanna achieve what most people aren't achieving, if you wanna be in the top 1%, you have to do what most people aren't doing. And that's just another little anecdote and another little truth about what it takes to be successful. That doesn't mean that you're working all the time, but it means that you're keeping your life in balance. And financial success, so success is more than financial success, right? It's success in all of those 4 areas. And so working towards a good paycheck, all right, you got a good paycheck, but keeping your physical health, keeping your social health, keeping and growing your intellectual, mental, emotional health, like growing all of that and staying strong in all those areas. So as you get older and you become wiser and you become seasoned and you become knowledgeable and you become more skillful in all areas of your life, financially, intellectually, emotionally, socially, right? Mentally, your mental health, and also physically, right? Like you're taking care of yourself and you've learned to enjoy it because you have the right mindset and you're telling yourself the right stories, right? You understand, like, okay, good. Like when I go swim, I'm gonna go swim here in, 15 minutes, and go home, get my kids, and like we go swim at this Olympic pool and this beautiful complex at the school near our house. And my daughter swims in one group at this end of this 50-meter pool. I swim in the adult group at this middle part of the 50-meter pool. And my son swims in this group right here at this end. Here are my kids, they're swimming, I'm swimming, there are people there. I get to visit with some people, I get to get some exercise, I get to enjoy the water and the sun in the late afternoon. And then I get to sit by the pool with my feet in the edge of the pool and feel the wind, the breeze, if there's a slight breeze, and enjoy the warmth of the afternoon and the sunset, the setting sun. And it's like being in Hawaii. Because ultimately, Hawaii, here's one of my phrases, ultimately Hawaii is a state of mind, right? This idea of being in paradise and relaxing and enjoying the beauty of the environment surrounding oneself, right? That's a state of mind. And I could be in Hawaii anywhere. And so going to the pool here in 15 minutes, getting some exercise, having a good time, being with my kids, and being in this paradisical environment, like it's wonderful. And that's the story I'm telling myself. And I'm gonna tell myself that story. I like that story. And when I hear the story come up that it's like, it's gonna be a lot of work though. Yeah, man, there's a little bit of effort in there, but you can do hard things, right? You can do hard things. And that's the counter story that I also tell myself when I feel a little bit like, and then also sometimes I'm like, well, that's too bad. That's what we do. If there's even more resistance in my mind, right? Like, I'm sorry, we're going to exercise. That's the way we do it. So if you want to achieve what most people don't achieve, you have to do what most people don't do. If you want to be in the 1%, you're the 1% in all ways, right? Financially, physically, socially, emotionally, have a great relationship, a great significant other, great family, great kids, great vacations, great schools, great cars, great area of town, great house. If you want all that stuff, right, this is the roadmap. This is how you do it. But you got to step outside the lines of conformity. Maybe you were raised with a poor diet. Okay, that's the conformity you got. You came from a culture where they didn't teach you to eat well. You got to figure that stuff out. You got to learn to eat well. You got to learn to love those vegetables. I made myself a salad the other day. It was amazing. It was like a deli sandwich without the meat, had pepperoncinis in it, olive oil, which is really good for you. So here's some more knowledge, what you know. Olive oil has like really good health effects. So if you look up the different which oils are healthy and unhealthy, olive oil is healthy for you. And some people even believe it's important to take a tablespoon of olive oil every day. So you could chat GPT that one and read about it. But this amazing salad with pepperoncinis and lettuce and olives and feta cheese and really good Greek olive oil and balsamic, it was great, right? But if you want to, if you came from a culture where you didn't learn to have a great diet, you have to teach that to yourself now. You have to learn about it. And you have to step outside those lines of conformity and start learning to enjoy what maybe you haven't been trained to enjoy until you're like, man, this is an amazing salad. I had apples, little chunks of apples in the salad. It was so good. All right, so that's becoming the top 1%. That's really becoming successful in life. It's within your reach, but to get there, you're gonna have to do what others aren't doing. And that doesn't mean that you're just working, grinding all the time, but it means that you're learning to do things in a smart way, and you're learning to keep these 4 areas of health and balance. And success is much more than financial success. It's financial success with your physical health, with your social health, and with your intellectual, mental, and emotional health, all wrapped in together. All right, that's becoming the top 1%.